We're now joined by Mr. Terry Newsome himself. He is the host of the popular Behind Enemy Lines podcast on YouTube. Terry, you snicker a little bit, but given what we just saw,
yes,
and what I just talked about with Brian O'Shea, as far as copycats and wannabe famous would-be shooters or violent actors, you must take this threat seriously, Terry. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's and just to be clear, my show Behind Enemy Lines is not the Behind Enemy Lines that's organizing the October 7th protest at the Israeli consulate. Remember during the DNC, they did the same thing on your show? They're using that name and they're calling for no business as usual and escalate Gaza. This October 7th, they're calling for violence. The same individuals that have been coming after me for 4 years, the Hammond brothers, they call themselves Antifa. They coordinate all that from what you saw at the DNC, taking those fences down, from what you saw at the ICE Center in Chicago. They've been over there every Friday. So tomorrow, you're going to see more violence. They're calling for more violence tomorrow at the Bellevue station, ICE station in the western suburbs of Chicago. So they're calling for violence. They've always called for violence. That first image that you showed was up in McHenry County, and Charlie and I spoke on the war against children. They are out in front there. They shut down 3 of my events, and what they do is they call the venues. They threaten the venues. Then they call bands or other performers and threaten them. Then they call the people's homes and let them know they know where they're at. They threaten them. Stuart Rhodes from Oath Keepers was in Chicago this week. 3 of his venues were canceled by the same people. They finally were able to reschedule it at a church that wouldn't cancel because of the threats from the leftists and Antifa, which is all coordinated by pretty much the same guys, Jeremy and Jason Hammond, which I'm going to do a deep dive on them tonight and explain who they are. They're full-time, professional, paid anarchists. And hopefully, now that they're designated as terror groups, they'll be able to follow the money that trickles down to them and who is paying and funding them. When they show up all over Chicago, and everyone knows this on the news, especially at the DNC, they got signs, professionally made signs, hundreds of them, and they just dump them off in the street. Who's paying for those signs?
Do you have any idea, Terry? Do you have any leads on to who's paying for that?
Only speculation. From like everybody else, I have not investigated. I wouldn't even know how to begin, but I'm assuming it's Soros, the leftists, outside influences. I mean, we're talking massive amounts of signs. The DNC took over a whole baseball field of signs, just stacked. I mean, there were so many people there was tons of them left over that they made so many for thousands of people.
And yet they say Antifa is not an organization. It's simply an idea, according to the former and disgraced FBI Director Christopher Wray. Having covered them so long, now would you agree with that, Terry?
Oh my God, yeah. They are an organized, disorganized group. So when they say that, they use that crazy excuse, right? So I guess you could use that for the organized crime, right? I mean, they don't have an official org chart, right? They have different crews and pockets. Does that mean there's no such thing as organized crime? Of course not, right? It's the same thing with Antifa. I was at that Broadview Center. All the violence is going to happen again. I went there a few days ago by myself, and these leftist nut jobs, are set up from morning to night. They got a tent, food they're giving each other, and then they embrace everybody that comes. All the news stations were there. I try to have a civil conversation with them, and they don't want to talk. And I'm like, you guys are here protesting. Don't you want to get your point across? One guy was making fun of Charlie Kirk's death. It was hard for me to restrain myself. Another guy was challenging me, saying, I was a liar. There's no such thing as Trent DeLargo in Chicago. I'm like, are you serious? I go, have you ever spoken to him? I've never seen him. I've never seen him. I go, have you ever ran in and have a conversation with guys from the Chicago outfit? No. I go, well, I guess they're not here either. They're just nuts. You can't even have a civil debate with them because they're absolutely crazy. And they are getting violent, and they feel that the momentum is behind them with all this new stuff that's happening with Antifa, the threats, and the left has no other choice but to try to make this violence successful. They're not going to win on their platforms, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to win platforms. They have to do this disruption. And I always say the Democrats are trying to start their second civil war. They're trying to start their second civil war because like they did back in the 1800s.
Well, look, I have often said that what more people are coming to realize, that I have long realized, is that the commie left does not understand debate. They don't understand civil discourse, and they don't want to. They understand violence. I think President Trump understands that based on the statements he made in the Oval Office a little bit earlier today, Terry, and he suggested that they would not be successful in their political violence. And we know that his administration is making moves behind the scenes. Exactly to what extent, we don't know, but we are trying to find that out and report on that. And I know, Terry, you are someone who is well connected with some factions in the Trump administration. I'm sure you're sharing your insight with them as well.
Yeah.
Terry, please be careful.
One second. Before the show, there's other people like me in my network, and the FBI actually talked to them this morning about some of these people that we're talking about. And if you remember, the FBI showed up at my house 2 years ago, specifically about what? Antifa threatening me. So that was during the Biden administration. So I'm hoping that they have a lot of intelligence to start quickly accelerating and getting to the bottom of the funding.
I do too. And I know that you're continuing to investigate it, and our audience can also tune into you behind enemy lines where you're laying that out. Right now it's speculation, but we're digging, right, Terry? We're digging to find out. And there's lots of people digging right now, so that's good. I think we'll get those answers. Terry Newsome, again, be careful, my friend, and thank you for the hard work you do and for being courageous, not being saddled by fear, but continue to be courageous as you go behind enemy lines. Good to see you, Terry.
Thank you. Thanks.